Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
This is Superman, and this is Superman reinvented for a new age.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Sure, the standards are there, the blue suit, red cape, and spit curl, but somehow this new take on Superman seems like a bold departure and a reinterpretation of what's come before. How is that possible? Well, unlike many of the people who adapted your favorite comic book characters to the big screen, James Gunn is a lifelong devotee of the funnies, and this new Superman film just might be the most unique version of the Big Blue Boy Scout that's ever existed for exactly that reason.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
It's no secret that people like Bryan Singer, Richard Donner, and Zack Snyder aren't comic book fans. Yes, they're auteurs who each breathed new life into Krypton's last son, but they're all far from Wednesday warriors. The cinematic version of Superman would not exist, obviously, without their contributions, but each of their celluloid outings were successful in spite of the fact that they just don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of the character's origins. And why should they? Being a great film director doesn't require a PhD in DC continuity, and when it does, that's when you know it's time to pack it in. However, the fact that the Man of Steel's current steward does possess that aforementioned degree just might be the key to saving the entirety of Warner Brothers.
Being a child, I loved the purity of Superman. This character's noble, and he's beautiful.
Yes, obviously the darker, more brooding version of the character that was displayed in Snyder's DCEU has its defenders. However, when it comes to selling toys, you know who buys more of those than adults? Children.
Superman comes in like, boom! Bad guys gotta learn. You don't mess with the ass!
And you know who's been Superman's #1 constituency since the 1930s? Children.
Look, Superman!
This fact is largely due to the character's inherent kindness, moral fortitude, and his inherent wish fulfillment power fantasy. Everyone's favorite scowling Dia de los Muertos participant is pretty much the exact opposite of this ethos.
Superman was never real, just the dream of a farmer from Kansas.
That farmer's dream is all some people have. This means something.
It did on my world. My world doesn't exist anymore.
So it came as no surprise when it was revealed that the first project that Gunn was working on for the burgeoning DCU was titled Superman Legacy. Many initially hoped that this would be a brighter take on Superman, but still utilize the talents of Henry Cavill, who had just been teased for a return at the end of Black Adam. Tragically, that was not meant to be. What did make longtime comic fans scratch their head even more was the fact that during his continued promotion for the project, Gunn would consistently cite All-Star Superman as a key influence. How could this project, a film that would follow a younger Superman reckoning with his Kryptonian heritage, be influenced so deeply by All-Star, a comic about, spoiler alert, the last son of Krypton dying?
Your cells are oversaturated with power. They are bursting from within.
I'm dying.
I'm sorry, Superman.
Written by Grant Morrison and drawn by Frank Quitely, All-Star Superman's high concept is simple. Superman's cells are dying. They've absorbed too much of our sun's yellow radiation and are finally breaking down. And then, in the ultimate act of self-sacrifice, have Kal-El attempt to use every last bit of his energy to help as many people as possible. Each issue of All-Star follows Superman as he takes up some sort of quest. Some of the adventures are as simple as Superman giving Lois a serum that gives her superpowers, or as complicated as journeying to Bizarro World. However, this high concept of watching what Superman does with his remaining time doesn't nearly sum up why All-Star is so good. The book is complicated and has a distillation of everything that Superman fans have come to love about the character. The purpose of All-Star wasn't just to make a good Superman comic, but to make a comic that could be accessible to anyone and would communicate why Superman is the most important character to come out of the funny pages.
You love the script.
I love the script, and people love the script, and so I feel great about the script.
At first glance, it's easy to see why James Gunn would look to All-Star as a text to draw inspiration from, considering his creative goal. This movie was tasked with being a gateway drug to Superman, and more importantly, to explain to them why Superman works, why it's important to be kind to people, how on a totemic level, perverting the goodness of Superman like the Snyderverse did, warps the good in all of us.
I'm doing good.
Superman does good. You doing well.
He's a sigil of what it means to wake up and choose to be open and warm in the face of the harsh realities of existence. However, here's where you run into a problem. In a perfect world, you'd just adapt All-Star into a movie and call it a day. Oh wait, They tried that, and it wasn't very good. But that's not what's being asked for. You're not going to launch a massive cinematic universe on a story about a dying Superman. So how is James Gunn going to handle the actual plot elements of All-Star?
How could I create a Superman that's true to the character of Superman and yet is a take on Superman that's different enough that it's worth, making a big budget movie about it?
Well, when asked about this exact question, Gunn replied, "Our plot has nothing to do with All-Star Superman, but some of the aesthetics of what Grant wrote and Frank drew were incredibly influential." This is quite a pivot from the original DCU Gods and Monsters announcement video, where the main image of Superman that's on screen when he's talking about the upcoming Superman movie is just the cover to All-Star #1. In the trailers and teasers that we've seen for Gunn's new Superman movie, it looks like a classic and timeless Superman story. The inciting incident appears to be Superman intervening in military conflict, and this causes the world to question, should Superman have complete freedom to make decisions that could fundamentally shift the power structure of the global stage? We see Clark and Lois debating the moral ethics of Superman intervening in foreign diplomacy.
You seemingly acting as a representative of the United States will cause
anybody
more
except for me
problems around the world.
and doing good.
The movie looks new, fresh, and exciting, and the main reason for that is because it appears to be drawing from not just All-Star, but many classic Superman stories. Gunn even took to Instagram recently to discuss the other key influences for the film, which include Superman the Animated Series, Superman for All Seasons, the Fleischer cartoons, Kingdom Come, the Kurt Swan Superman family books, and the new 52 Superman titles, among others.
Thank you.
No need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it. We have no consciousness whatsoever.
But here's the thing. The stakes for this film are at an all-time high. If this film doesn't work, like if it doesn't break $1 billion, DC and Warner's as a whole might be in severe trouble. In a recent report, it's detailed that there's speculation of if Superman doesn't meet the Warner Discovery brass sky-high expectations, the whole studio could be sold off. This doomsday scenario is offered up with a degree of seriousness that previously would have been completely unthinkable. One of the biggest and oldest studios currently going is going to seriously go the way of 20th Century Fox if one movie doesn't succeed? Really? That's unthinkable.
Hey, quit messing around.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
Will Gunn's Superman films work? Who knows? The jury is still out, but it's obvious he really is swinging for the fences. Superman always saves the day. Well, unless his true kryptonite wasn't made up of shards of his home planet, but corporate greed all along. Let's hope truth, justice, and the American way still rings true. And well, that's all we have for this episode. What do you think? Will Superman succeed at the box office? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe for more Nerdstalgic episodes just like this.